Hello. So thought I'd make a video for Game Week 33. I'll have a little look back at Game Week 32, talk about my plans for 33. Started having a little look at Free Hit 34 as well. So we'll just have a little waffle about what's going on. So Game Week 32, I did well because I had Wieffer, which is possibly one of the best moments I've had in FPL ever, to the extent of when Let's Talk Andy talks about getting people on his wall and stuff like that to commemorate certain players. This is the first time I've ever thought maybe I should actually commemorate Wieffer, because that was pretty special. I might see if I can, I don't know, get some kind of little sticker of his or something and make a little wall somewhere. But that was special. So yeah, I had Wieffer, pure jam. I mean, I may as well just explain the reason I went for Wieffer. I didn't even think about him until the Friday, which was like the last day of the deadline. I'd always known about him because on my DEFCON charts since the start of the season, he's always been like high, and I'd always been like, who's this Wieffer guy? He always seems to appear quite high on the charts, but he was kind of playing out of position right back. He had some injuries. I didn't really know. He was never really fully a pick, so I always just ignored him. And then I remembered him on that Friday. And the thing about Wieffer was that, I don't know if I haven't got it set up here, but Wieffer with Gross, he shouldn't be too far away. There's Gross. So I realised that their XGIs are actually very similar. A lot of people are going for Gross. Their XGIs are pretty similar. So Wieffer's about 0.2, Gross is 0.24, maybe 0.28. But most of Gross's is XA. And Wieffer's is more XG, so pretty similar XGI. But Wieffer's DEFCON rate is like 62%, I've got him as, whereas Gross is 18%. So I was thinking, well, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? Like, Wieffer should start most games. I do think he probably will play 90. When he's fit, he plays 90. Brighton, Wieffer's here. Once he's fit, I mean, some of these games where he's kind of looks like he's got some injuries, he doesn't play all his minutes, but once he gets a run of fitness going, he just plays 90, 90, 90. So I was thinking, surely Wieffer's a better pick than at least Gross. Comparable XGI, but way better DEFCON rate. So yeah, that was the thinking. I'm still seeing people on Wildcard 33 and Free Hit 33 bringing Gross in. I don't know whether maybe because he's got a chance of penalties that's tipping it, but I would definitely not go for Gross now. If you're going to go for Gross, go for Wieffer. But then if you want to go for an upside, then maybe go for somebody like Hinshelwood, Mitoma, Minter. They're the ones that could have more of an upside, because I don't think Wieffer's going to get that lucky again. He's just a DEFCON pick, really. Yeah. But that's Wieffer, though. Yeah, I think he's an alright pick, but I got very jammy with him. So that was fun. The fact that the template, the wildcard template is very template, and I've heard some people talking about his FPL Dead and people complaining about the template being too template. I'm not that surprised that the template's template for the wildcard 32, because you've only got 6 doubling teams and one of them's Burnley. So if you want to get 15 doublers, you have to pick 3 from the 5 doubling teams, and most teams don't have more than about 3 or 4 picks anyway. So it's almost inevitable that it was going to be template. And sometimes in the past, when you get a very wildcard template team, I kind of get an instinct to want to go against it, which has actually kind of harmed me in the past before. I remember going for Iniacho instead of Kane at one point, and Kane absolutely smashed me. So I'm not... This time I wasn't actually that bothered about just going with the template, because not everybody's wildcard, and anyway, the wildcard itself is a degree of a different... It's not a differential, but it's only maybe 60% or something people going for it. I don't know what the percentage is, but... So I wasn't that bothered about going for the template, and it will start to differentiate again as we go forward. But yeah, some people are on a totally different strategy anyway. But I'm just well glad that Wieffer came through. That was very, very lucky. So, yep, and it did quite well. Brighton, clean sheet. Nico O'Reilly, all good. So now I've got to think about Game Week 33. Oh no, hang on. I was going to say as well, like this conversation topic of is FPL dead? I don't think so. I'm just going to wade in with my opinion, which is that I still like FPL. I maybe not might not be the right person to ask because I'm quite easy to please. Like I even like the assistant manager last season and stuff like that, so I'm quite easy to please anyway. But I think at the end of the season, enthusiasm tends to wane, and there's a drop off naturally anyway. So that always happens. But at the start of the season, the first half, my vibe was that it was quite a good feeling about FPL. With all those changes we had at the start of the season. There was like 5 of them, wasn't there? There was the DEFCONs, there was the AFCON transfers, there was some changes to the assist rules, bonus rules. I can't actually remember what 5 of the changes were. I'm sure there was like 4 or 5 changes. I can't even remember now. But they were all generally quite favourable, I thought. People kind of were into it. I was certainly into it. The AFCON ones were the ones that were questionable, but they ended up being quite interesting, and I was quite pleased about the AFCON transfers when they came in, and I think I actually got too trigger happy, and they actually were a bit of a hurdle. I messed my team up a bit during that phase, so they were interesting. So I feel like the vibe was quite good, and also the having chips in the first half of the season. One of the reasons I thought it was a good idea is because it's so templated in the second half, because the doubles and the blanks dictate where you're going to use your chips much more strongly, whereas in the first half you got much more variation. So it was double chips, that was the other thing, wasn't it? Double chips. So so I think it's been a good season all in all, and I like DEFCONs. One thing I would say about DEFCONs though is that there was one point in the season where I was trying to choose between Chow and Kroopy Jr. who to play and who to bench. And I really wanted to play Kroopy, but I just couldn't bring myself to play him because of the maths. Because Chow just had these routes to points, including the DEFCONs. And when you worked out the numbers, I had to pick Chow. I didn't want to. It was just boring. It was like I didn't want to go. I wanted to cheer on the goals for Kroopy. And so that was the first time that made me think maybe in FPL, goals should be rewarded the most. That should be the thing that you get that should be the big winner in FPL. And at the moment this season, DEFCONs are kind of maybe just a little bit overpowered. Of course, this season we've had it's been more set plays, maybe more DEFCONs have been happening than was predicted, so it may not happen every season. I'm trying to think of a stat. I'm sure I saw a stat about there was less goals from strikers. I don't think there's been less goals altogether, but there's been less goals from strikers, I think, or something like that. I don't know. But any changes we've had this season, they may not happen every season. But I do think that maybe DEFCONs could be tweaked. I don't know how, but maybe just tweaked so that the emphasis is on goals. That goals should be the thing that we get the most excited about, probably, in FPL. But in general, I think the season's been fun. I'm still into it. This is like usually the best period of the season, and I am quite excited about the double game week now. These next 3 games, 32, getting that Wieffer haul, double game week, 15 doublers now, and then free hit 34. I'm looking at and getting potentially quite excited about. So these 3 game weeks, 32, 33, 34, is exciting, and then the running should be quite exciting as well because there's lots to play for. There's going to be teams on the beach versus teams that have stuff to play for. Could be another double. Well, will be another double with Palace and City. So that's interesting. And on that topic as well, I think James from Planet FPL mentioned this, but there is a chance that it will be Man City Bournemouth might be the doubling team in 36, and then Palace will get a double. Man City Palace will go into 37. For anyone that didn't hear that, I think he explained it better. I just remembered it now, but Man City Bournemouth, it's something to do with the the days. So 37 FA Cup final will be here. What is it to do with? Man City Bournemouth. It was something to do with it. It can't be played on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. But I can't remember exactly who's blocking who. But something to do with Man City and Bournemouth. Man City Palace would have to go on the Wednesday, basically. I think that was what it is if they're going to put it in 36. And they may not want that before an FA Cup final on a Saturday. Whereas Man City Bournemouth, if they get to the final, that could be brought to the Tuesday. And maybe they would prefer that. Something to do with that, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Something to keep in mind, but it's probably going to be Man City Palace in 36 anyway. So, yeah, I think the season's going pretty well and still got some more excitement to come. So, all good. Anyway, Game Week 33, what are my plans? I've got Bruno and Nico O'Reilly, so they're really the only two question marks. Some people might have Gabriel. Whether you keep him, yeah, this is the play that everyone's thinking about of like juggling how many transfers you got versus how much you care about the bench boost. I've got 5 free transfers and 3 mil in the bank, and I've also got bench boost blinkers on at the moment. I've got I just really want 15 doublers. I think originally when I looked at Bruno, I imagined that I would just keep him on a bench boost because he's not too bad. But now I want Enzo, I think. So he'd be a transfer in and probably a transfer straight back out again for 35. Not necessarily, but probably. So, yeah, probably. So that's it does seem like a bit of a waste. But then at this stage of the season, there's a question of I've got 5 free transfers. I'm going to have another 4 between now and the end of the season. It'll be so I'll have 9 altogether. And how do you tell whether a transfer is worth it or not? And I think I worked out. My model's going to take too long to load. I think let's just try it. Computer's slow. The computer might bodge up when I do this. But if we look at 35 to 39, why are they on 0? Actually, I'm going to pause it 1 sec. My computer's a bit too slow. Sorry, I had it on 39 instead of 38. Sorry, so 35 to 38. So a transfer like Hill to Gabriel, if I did that in 35 for the next 4 game weeks, that should earn me about 7 points. So that would be an example of a good transfer. 7 points. Enzo was another one, wasn't it? So Enzo to Bruno, that's another one that's about 8 points there. So those two would be very good. But I don't know if there's going to be a huge amount of others. Just getting in an extra doubler, you're talking maybe 4 points. If you're lucky, though, because those Palace doubles in 36, are the Palace players even going to play both of the doubles? We'll have to wait and see. And I'm not sure you're going to want Palace players either side of the double. If I bring them in, I'm probably going to take them straight back out again, potentially. Yeah, but so 7 or 8 points for those 2 transfers look pretty good. But then if I do Bruno to Enzo just in 33 and then take him straight back out again, I'm only set to gain maybe a couple of points. So Bruno's there, Enzo is there on about 8. Yeah, it's about 2 points, which doesn't seem much. But then if I've got 9 transfers, bringing Bruno and Gabriel back in later might be worth it. But the rest of them, the other 7, I don't know if I'm going to get much more than about 2 or 3 points per transfer anyway. So I feel as though my threshold should probably be about 2 points. And so maybe Bruno to Enzo just for an extra 2 EV is worth it. Probably. I think so. I may just be convincing myself because I want 15 doublers. Which I really do. I've got the blinkers on at the moment now. I think I just really want to get 15 doublers. So I think I've got 5 free transfers. I'll probably do Bruno to Enzo. Certainly if Nico O'Reilly's okay. Because if Nico O'Reilly's okay, then I'll have a use it or lose it transfer. I'll have 5 free transfers, so I'll have to use one of them. And so I may as well do 1 to get Enzo in. Then it's only 1 to get Bruno back anyway. But if I use 2, I'll have... sorry, that's free hit, isn't it? If I use 2, I'll have Free hit that week. 4 free transfers and 35. So that's not too bad still. That should be okay. So at the moment, that's what I'm doing. Bruno to Enzo. I will probably do it just for the crack. And it is quite possible that Bruno could outscore Enzo. I don't think Enzo does the Defcons that much, does he? Not really. So it is a bit of a... He could easily blank in both of those. But that's the plan though still. And then Nico O'Reilly, I think, is just a case of... I'm just going to have to wait for news. If he's... Obviously, if he's out, I'll go for Gay. If he's... and it probably will be Gay. I mean, I could go for Cucurella and Cherky instead if I do a double move. But I think I just prefer Gay and Enzo. They're both kind of above Cucurella and Cherky on my model. A little bit safer. Yeah, I'm not going to overthink that one, I don't think. So, if Nico O'Reilly is like definitely out of Arsenal and maybe 50-50 for the Burnley, if that's what Pep says, I'll probably still go for Gay in that, because that's not enough. But if he comes up, if there's positivity, if Pep says, yeah, he's probably okay, we'll see in training, and if there's pictures of him in training as well, and it's starting to feel a little bit more positive, I will probably... I'm tempted to stick with him because I'm going to want him back in 35 as well. If I can get away with leaving him in my team, I probably will. Because, save a transfer for later. I don't really want to have to get rid of him otherwise, because otherwise I'm going to have to do another transfer to get Gay back to Nico O'Reilly, which is something I may not do when I get to 35. There may be other transfers that are more important. But then Gay is predicted quite a lot on my model. And one thing about Gay is that his Defcon rate, well, I've got him at 30%-ish there. Since he's come to Man City, he's not done that well. So he came to Man City around about 23, I think it was. So he's hit Defcon twice there, and then he hasn't hit it since. This is going backwards to 32 there. So he's hit it twice there, then he hasn't hit it since. He's come close. 9, 7, 8, 3, 8, 0, then 9. He had a blank in 31. So he's close, but he hasn't been hitting it that much. But Man City's fixtures, from now until the end of the season, they play... All these top 5 teams here are... These are the teams who create the most amount of C-bits in their opponents, in their opposing centre-backs. Palace, Brentford, Everton, Bournemouth and Arsenal, and Man City are playing all 5 of those, plus Villa and Burnley. So Villa and Burnley maybe not, but... So Gay, he could have a good chance of getting Defcons in all those games. It could bump his numbers up a bit. So, yeah. So I'm not too bothered about going for Gay. He's got his goal now. His XGI is pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm fine with Gay. But Nico O'Reilly is way better, though. Don't even know where he is here. There he is. Yeah, 0.66 XGI is like better than most midfielders. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll try and keep him if I can, but quite happy to go to Gay here if I have to. So that's 33. Some other things I was going to talk about was like... I mean, one of the things that always happens in a double is that your teams play against each other, which is something I usually try to avoid in most game weeks. I don't really like it. And I hadn't really thought about it that much. And it's always this thing that once the double comes around, you're like, oh yeah, the second game week, all your players play against each other. And that's something that my model doesn't pick up on, which is that, you know, you've got João Pedro playing Verbruggen here. Well, part of their predicted points is, you know, a certain percentage chance of a goal in that Brighton game and a certain percentage chance of a clean sheet in that Chelsea game. But they contradict each other. They can't both happen. So all of these point scores here technically should be limited, brought down somehow. So I don't know. It's just a relevant point to some people, maybe people who are going against this. Maybe, you know, you don't have to worry about getting hurt too much because a lot of, you know, a goal for João Pedro is a clean sheet wipeout for Brighton and vice versa kind of thing. But I don't think I have too many clashes. I mean, I've got no Burnley, so the Man City double attack is fine. Calvert-Lewin against Bournemouth. He might even miss that game, which I'll talk about in a minute. But so I don't think I've got too many clashes. I think it's Brighton and Chelsea are the biggest clash. Triple Chelsea clash. Triple Chelsea attack against double Brighton defence. So that does make me wonder whether I possibly should have considered double Brighton attack instead. But it is what it is. I'll hoping for DEFCONs anyway, things like that. So there's that, and then the other thing I was thinking of is what's the chance of rest and rotation. But I generally don't. I'm not really bothered because it's a double game week, and as long as the players, even if a player starts one and then gets 30 minutes, 20 minutes on the other, it's like better than a single game week player anyway. It's not going to be enough for me to actually make any more transfers. You know, it's Bruno and Nico O'Reilly. Am I going to do any more transfers on any other players? It would have to be quite a high threshold to make me want to transfer a player out. So it's unlikely to happen. But generally, the only teams that are kind of at risk of rotation are. So what have we got here? You got Bournemouth, Chelsea, Leeds, City, Burnley, which nobody's picked any of, and I'm missing a team. Who's the other team? I've gone blank. Man City, Burnley, Chelsea, Leeds, Bournemouth, Brighton. There it is. So here we are, 33. So Brighton don't have the game in. Brighton, I'm fine. Van Heck and Verbruggen and probably Wieffer will play both. Wieffer should do. He's not that soon back from injury, but he should play. Most of the players will probably play because they're not playing in the FA Cup. They've got a big rest here. Welbeck, probably not. He might, but probably not. There could be some rotation. Players like Minter and Matoma, probably risky. Matoma, maybe not. He's just coming back from injury. So some of these types of players, there could be rotation. But I think Wieffer, I feel all right with Wieffer, I think. Possibly not. He's got Veltman. But I think Wieffer will be all right. Gross should be all right. So Brighton are fine. Chelsea, they've got a big gap before Leeds. They've got a short turnaround there, but I was going back through like Pedro, Palmer and Enzo here. And they play 3 in a week quite a lot. Like they seem to do this turnaround quite a lot. They started all 3 of these, which was like, that's three in like 6 days there. They started all 3. Only 58 minutes in this one, but then they were already out. That was against PSG, second leg. Another little 3-day turnaround here. They all started. They all played. A couple more here. This is when Palmer was just coming back, but they all started, all these 2. Another 3-day turnaround. I think there's been more before. I can't remember, but I think they're all fine to do these little 3-day turnarounds. And then they got a fairly nice break before that Leeds game anyway. So Enzo, Palmer, Pedro, I'm not worried about. Bournemouth players, they've got a fairly nice break between the 2 games and then no FA Cup. So I think most of them will be safe. I've got Senesi, Hill and Tav. I think they'll all be fine. Not worried about them. Not worried enough to transfer one out anyway. Do Leeds last. Man City have got a very short turnaround. But they've got Southampton in the FA Cup. So if they just need your best, and if they're really going for the league, and they just need their best players for these 2, I mean, again, it's not enough. You've got to go for it with Haaland and Semenyo. I'm not transferring them out before a potential game against Burnley. So I don't know. I could go for somebody other than Gay if I'm selling Nico O'Reilly, but I don't think I will risk that. I still want the double. Still better than anybody else. So yeah, I think you go for that. And then Leeds are the only interesting one because I think FPL Harry mentioned, I think it was on Planet FPL, that if Leeds win this game against Wolves, they'll be and Tottenham lose, Leeds will be 9 points clear of Tottenham, which basically means they'll probably be safe because Tottenham are probably unlikely to get 9 points in these last 5 games there. To get 9 points in these last 5 seems unlikely. So Leeds could take their foot off the gas against Bournemouth. But again, they could take their foot off the gas. But I've got Strauch, Darlow and Calvert-Lewin. And Strauch and Darlow, I think, will play... They'll probably still play all the games anyway, because keepers and centre-backs don't tend to get rotated that much anyway. They've got an okay turnaround. It's like, still 4 days between each game. Calvert-Lewin could miss one, though. I think he could. But then again, I want Calvert-Lewin for this Burnley game here in 35. I want him for the Wolves game at home there. So even if he just gets 20 minutes in that, it's not the worst case scenario. It might even be good for my defenders anyway, my Bournemouth defenders. So that's the rotation. Basically, rotation isn't really bothering me that much. Yeah, so that's it. Looks good. So Bruno to Enzo feels pretty likely. Wait for updates, but seems pretty likely. And then Nico O'Reilly to Gay, only if it's he's 50-50 that he's not going to play. We'll wait for the news on Friday. So that's 33. And then 34, I just started looking at some free hits for hang on one sec. Sorry. Just started having a little tinker with free hit 34. And I'm already like 4 or 5 mil over budget. Team looks nice. I mean, I just whacked in a load of Arsenal, load of Liverpool. Isaac maybe could be a pick if he's back. I mean, I don't know whether he will be, but 34, Salah could be good. We'll see. I'm just throwing all these players in there. I haven't given it too much thought. Bruno and Cunha against Brentford. Stuck Bowen in there. Everton at home. Sunderland defence maybe. Gabriel and Virgil. But I've gone over budget, so I'm going to have to cut some of these. I don't know. It'll probably pick itself because maybe Isaac won't be available, something like that. The first thing I thought of, I wanted to kind of talk about Arsenal a bit because I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm probably going to be a little bit biased. But, I feel like there's been like a lot of negativity around Arsenal. And obviously me being an Arsenal fan, it's, my bias. I'm like looking at it and thinking, is it fair? Leaning the other way. And I tend to think it's not quite fair. So Arsenal's XG in the last 6, their second highest XG. I mean, sometimes the argument is that it's not open play XG, but even their open play XG, I think, is alright. I mean, I've just looked at this StatsMuse place. So Arsenal have the 3rd best XG in the league this season, according to this StatsMuse. Open play XG, they're the 6th best. So they dropped down a bit, but they're still like good. They're still pretty good. And if you look at their goals, I mean, the number of goals they scored before this game week, they had scored the most amount of goals in the league. Man City have just overtaken them by 1 goal now. And if you look back through their season, the amount of times they've scored over 3 or more goals is about like that many. I haven't counted it, but Man City are basically the same. The amount of times that Man City have scored 3 or more goals is about the same as well. So, Arsenal have had a lot of cricket scores that I think maybe people are forgetting. They do know how to attack sometimes. Now, this is coming from... I don't really watch the games that much. So this is like people that watch the games. I find football boring most of the time anyway. This is why I don't really watch that much, because most of it is just passing the ball around, doing not much. Arsenal just seem to be doing that a bit more. But, yeah, I don't mind it. I don't care because, like as an Arsenal fan, we had years of playing supposedly beautiful football under Wenger, and then people would criticise Arsenal of not being ruthless enough, not being spineless enough, and they play beautiful football, but they always get beat. And then now Arsenal being a bit more ruthless and not caring about what others think and just being spineless and not playing so beautiful, playing ugly football, winning ugly. And now people are coming and saying, well, they're not playing beautiful enough. So I think Arsenal are fine. I think they're doing well. And I think, yeah, so what am I trying to say? I just think people maybe are underestimating Arsenal's attack a bit. So I'm looking at that Newcastle game in 34, and I would like to try and get some Arsenal attackers in there if I can. The trickiest thing is figuring out who to put in, because in terms of XGA as well, Newcastle are the bottom in the last 6 game weeks, which is very surprising to see them right at the bottom in the last 6 game weeks. This is understat data, but it's all understat data, so compared to everyone else, they're the bottom. So that's quite surprising. Newcastle bottom, and then Arsenal second top. So I'd love to get some Arsenal players in for that 34, but I don't know who to pick, because they're going to have a second leg. They're going to have the first leg of the Champions League on the Wednesday against, that'll be Atletico Madrid now, won't it? I think. Is it? Can't remember who won that. I think it's Atletico Madrid, isn't it? But whatever happens in that Man City game, this is still going to be a must-win game, I would have thought. I mean, if they beat Man City, could they rest players in the Newcastle game? I wouldn't have thought so. I think they want to finish the job, wouldn't they? So I think they'll play fairly full strength. But then, who is full strength for Arsenal? Who is full strength? Eze or Odegaard? If Odegaard's still out, maybe you can go for Eze. Gyökeres, but is he definitely going to play? I mean, I'm going to look at all of this next game week, but I would like to get a Arsenal some Arsenal attack, I think, in that game, something like that. And then Bruno Cunha, Isaac will have to see. Salah, I may have to miss out on one of these expensive picks, and some cheapies are like Mamadashvili and Gamoa. If they get a chance, they're really cheap. So I may end up having to put one of these in. And I also think as soon as the deadline hits on, is it Saturday? Saturday at 11. So on Saturday I may start building the team, because if it is going to be tight for price, some of these players may go up in price. So I want to get in on them early if I can, just in case the price is tight. I was going to say with Gabriel as well, I want to get in, but then he's going to, when I get back to 35, I'll go back to this team, won't I? So I won't be able to catch any of his price rises if they do go up. Anyway, yeah, that's it then. So that's the plan though. Doing well at the moment. 330k, 45 points off top 100k. Doable. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have a good game week 33. 15 doublers. Captain Haaland, I think. I don't know who my vice is yet. I'll have a think. Probably Palmer. Don't know. Well, let's have a look. Captain Haaland. Gay's actually top, funnily enough, but I'm not sure I would fully trust that, but that is what the model says. Haaland, and then Calvert-Lewin second. No, I don't think so. Nico O'Reilly would be top, but that's if he's cleared to start. Cherky's actually up there on 11.25 if you think he's going to start both, but you probably won't. So Vice is probably João Pedro, maybe. Semenyo. Where is Palmer? Palmer's quite low, so maybe not Palmer. Anyway, we'll figure that out later. Yeah, so hopefully I can smash the next couple of game weeks, and then we'll figure out where we're at in 35. Okay, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. See you later. Bye-bye.